Coming up this week, off screen.
We enter a whole new world with a new Aladdin.
Uncover more of the secret life of pets.
Take off with a Rocketman.
Get a little Booksmart.
Visit the realm of perfection.
And get to know Chelsea Manning.
All those to come and more, off screen.
This is Off Screen. Off Screen. Off Screen. Off Screen. With the latest film news and reviews, this is Off Screen, the Movie Marker radio show and podcast.
Welcome to Off Screen, I'm Van Connor.
And I am Kate Allen.
Welcome back, Mr. Allen.
Hi, I was off last week.
Yeah, well, you know, to be fair, it wasn't the biggest week ever or anything last week. It was fine.
No, but it seems like I've got a good one in store for me.
You have. I mean, to be fair, though, John Wick 3 was last week. That was great.
And I've seen it.
And you loved it, I assume.
I loved, but I've got to confess something on air. So there was a bit in the trailer, so this isn't a spoiler or anything, there's a bit in the trailer where John Wick is on a horse.
Yes, he is, yeah.
And honestly, that's what really, not that I needed like selling on the film, but that's what really got me for that film. I was like,
That was your hook.
That was my hook.
That reeled you in.
That was my hook.
Okay.
But like, unfortunately, I went to go see it at quite a late night screening because I've got a baby and stuff, so I had to wait till the baby was asleep.
Yeah, of course.
So I saw it at like 11 at night, but I'd been working all day, so I was absolutely shattered.
Did you fall asleep?
I fell asleep during the horse bit.
Oh.
I loved the rest of the film.
Oh, man.
But like...
Oh, I feel it for you.
Yeah, I was just like waiting for the rest of the film. When's the horse going to turn
Did you
up?
get to see him on the motorbike, though?
Oh, I saw. Yeah, that was great.
Okay. We'll say though, the horse stuff is very fleeting.
That's all right then.
Compared to how prolonged a lot of the action beats and set pieces are in John Wick, the horse bit is very short. The horse bit is like 40 seconds.
That doesn't make me feel as bad then.
So
it could have just been like a really long blink that I did. Instead of falling asleep for half an hour.
Well, you know what? Actually, it's funny you say that because I was going to say we can carry on talking about John Wick because we've got film reviews, film news, box office top 5, and everything to come. But we need a big piece of film news to start us off. We are getting another John Wick, aren't we? This is happening now.
Yeah, we are. Let's talk about it now. Yeah,
let's start with that.
Confirmed, like
John Wick 4.
John Wick 4.
Yeah.
It's funny, for some reason, I assumed this was going to be the last. I don't know.
Everyone did.
Why did we have it in our heads?
Because the marketing had that tone of the final chapter about it.
Yeah. It was just like one last time.
Yeah, I think we all thought as well, like, really, how much more can John Wick really put up with? So we just assumed this was a trilogy closer. Yeah.
It turns out it was going to be... So how many do you think the fourth will be the last?
I don't know, because there's that TV show to start as well.
The Continental.
Yeah, and Keanu Reeves and Ian McShane have said they'd be open to it. I think Ian McShane less so, but definitely Keanu Reeves is open to it. They want to do a female spin-off. That's something they've got to come. I think it's called...
With Halle Berry's character?
No, they've got another one in development. I think it's called Lollipop or something.
Okay.
They want to do a sort of female angle in the same universe, and so John Wick's going nowhere.
There's a new character introduced in this, and I would like to see a spin. It's not Halle Berry's.
Is it not Halle Berry's? Which one?
I don't want to spoil it.
You don't want to spoil it. Do you know the actor's name?
Yeah,
Is it Asia K. Dillon?
Yes.
Oh, Asia K. Dillon. Asia K. Dillon's a bit busy at the moment. They've got to be.
What's she doing?
They've got to be the villain on Billions. The villain on Billions.
Oh.
Yeah.
Of course, we were talking about the villain.
We were, yeah.
So that's what they are doing.
Yes,
right.
They are. And incidentally, this is the strange thing as well. First trans character on US primetime TV. The only other one I can name off the top of my head is in Supergirl. There's a character named Dreamer on Supergirl. Yeah. I thought, how weird is that we have only 2 trans actors? Like, I can literally name all the trans actors as far as I can tell. So, yeah, weird thing. Anyway, but yes, Asia Kate Dillon, I absolutely love, but I think I would rather see them become the Darth Vader of it. I think I'd rather they were the Darth Vader. Obviously, the high table is the Emperor. Asia Kate Dillon as the Darth Vader, I think would be great.
That character, and it just expands the world more, doesn't it? Which this franchise has been really good at doing. But yeah, comes out in 2 years. 2 years after this one has just come out.
You know the really great part about this?
What?
Is they've got a release date. They've got a John Wick 4. They've not got a John Wick, though, because Keanu Reeves isn't officially signed yet. How much money can he now rinse out of Lionsgate?
Oh, so much, but he'll be fine with it.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, Is that even the Keanu that we all know?
Well, no, obviously it's not. Keanu will do it for the love of it.
Yeah.
But
buy him a new bass guitar and a new surfboard and he'll be fine.
I think I think Keanu's just amused that he has a trilogy that doesn't suck now.
That's a good point.
I think he's got a trilogy that started great and went great.
He was on the Late Show with Colbert, and you could just tell how much he loves doing it. And he kept using this phrase. He kept saying it's just got loads of John Wick action. And he said John Wick action about 6 times.
I know he spitballed about doing a crossover movie in which he played all the parts, and it was just all his characters named John in one movie. That was something he spitballed about on Nerdist, which I thought was hilarious.
Yes, isn't his character in Speed called John?
No, he's Jack.
He's
Jack.
Oh, right.
In Speed.
I thought it was yeah.
But Johnny Mnemonic,
Johnny Utah,
Johnny Mnemonic,
Johnny Mnemonic.
Neo's name is John Anderson.
John Anderson, yeah.
It's really
That's
weird.
Bizarre.
Is he John in Devil's Advocate? No, Al Pacino is John. He's John Milton, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
So yes, because let's not be too subtle with that symbolism.
That film is incredible.
I love the
maybe Charlize Theron's best work, I think.
You think?
Yeah.
Fury Road, man.
Shouting, my ovaries, Kevin.
Yeah, that was...
things you never thought you'd get to say on a podcast.
But first thing I ever saw Charlize Theron in, and I fell in love with her there and then in that movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, first review of the week. Let's talk about Rocketman. We should plug the podcast, by the way, extended podcast edition. This week will include a review of XY Chelsea, because we don't have time to fit it in the radio edit. So get onto whatever podcast platform you personally utilise. Search Offscreen, download, consume, and enjoy. So Rocketman, the Elton John biopic.
Reg Dwight.
Reg Dwight. Reg Dwight, the movie is here.
Yeah.
Now, okay, let's start with the obvious on this one. Bohemian Rhapsody exists.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's not bury the lead on this one. Bohemian Rhapsody exists. And
which music biopic are we going to get next?
Yeah, I mean, I think
kind of a...
Is it going to be Prince or Bowie? Which comes next? It's a race.
Well, they're doing both. They're doing
both are happening.
What's his name? Johnny Flynn.
Johnny Flynn is the Bowie one, isn't he?
Yes.
I don't think we've got Prince cast yet.
I don't think there'll be a Prince one for a long time.
I know, but they seem to think it's coming. Anyway, it's a race against which one can get here first. So, in the meanwhile, Bohemian Rhapsody arrived. It had the response that it had. I mean, I don't remember how you personally felt about Bohemian Rhapsody.
I didn't see it at the cinema just because, just had a baby and stuff, and also I wasn't really sold on Rami Malek. And then I watched it on an awards screener, and I thought he was great.
Film less so.
Yeah. But also, every person I've met of a certain age that have seen it, absolutely adores it.
Yeah, I find that really odd as well. But there are some problematic things about that film. Now, it's by a good stroke of luck that Rocketman was not going to make any of the same mistakes. Rocketman was so far into its production, obviously by the point that Bohemian Rhapsody opened, that they couldn't have factored any lessons learned in. No. So by dumb luck, they learnt those lessons by themselves anyway. So no soft pedaling, no dulled edges. This really is the Elton John biopic. And Elton John holding back.
Is a gay man.
Yeah. Elton John is a gay man who never met a substance he didn't enjoy to excess. And that is literally how this film opens. Taron Egerton in the orange devil costume, wandering into a group therapy session, sitting down saying, my name is Elton John, I'm an alcoholic, I'm a sex addict, I'm a substance abuser, and I have rage issues. Cut to black, boom, Rocketman.
Good.
And strong opening. And it starts off on a more aggressive, powerful foot than something like Bohemian Rhapsody does. Now, Taron Egerton is no Rami Malek. I don't think anyone's ever going to call him that, but he's good fun in it. What then unfolds before us is a musical, a full-blown musical, and I mean a stop the dialogue, turn to camera, we've now got a choreographed musical number. And this includes songs by Elton John, such as Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting, The Bitch Is Back. To my absolute surprise, I Want Love, which is, I know.
I love that video.
And that's what everyone always says, and they know it, because when they do that, they stop, they turn to camera, And they do I Want Love.
Good.
The actual video is performed as the choreographed manoeuvre, and it hops between the characters as they do it. So you get the young boy playing young Reg, you get Bryce Dallas Howard as his mum, Stephen McIntosh as his dad, and it cuts between...
I forgot Bryce Dallas Howard was going to be.
Yeah. Worst thing about it, incidentally. But, yeah, I know. So we've got a clip. This is from, I would say, about the 2/3 mark. This is about the point we're in the rock star years of Elton John. This is him having, let's just say, a cutthroat face-to-face with his duplicitous manager, John Reed, who's played by Richard Madden.
What's this? Number 11 in Italy. The song doesn't work. That's the problem. The record's coked out MOR. The problem is you have never understood me and what I have to go through. And you know what? I should have sacked you when you left me. I am glad I left you. It means I can maintain some objectivity in your self-indulgent, myopic little world. Get in the studio, make some music or don't. I don't care. Well, you will when your money runs out. Do your worst. In fact, take me to court. You signed contracts with me years ago, so I'll still be collecting my 20% long after you've killed yourself.
So you can already hear from that clip alone that this has got a lot more edge. This has been played a lot darker, for instance, than Bohemian Rhapsody has. Like I say, Edgerton's good fun in it. The cast are all quite good, with the exception, I think, of Bryce Dallas Howard, who plays it a bit broad. And I think she's taken the musical element of it a bit to heart, a bit too much to heart in the dramatic sequences.
Is she in it quite a lot?
I would say, particularly for the first half. This comes from, I think it's Lee Hall who wrote Billy Elliot. He's written the screenplay here with Dexter Fletcher. And boy, does it show, because the first half of this is Billy Elliot. It is Billy Elliot with piano lessons in place of ballet. And it's really well done. It's great. That stuff really works. What also really works is then the rock star years that follow. In the last 10 minutes, this does become one of the most atrocious vanity projects you've ever seen. I can't stress that enough. I mean, this surpasses even Brian May's brand management in the last 10 minutes. But prior to those final 10 minutes, it's a really enjoyable, really good time. It's a really loud, proud, really, really well-presented musical. Edgerton's got the absolute, the song and dance flair. He can sing well enough. I mean, we've all seen the movie Sing, haven't we, where he's the monkeys.
I have actually not seen it. I'm obviously aware of it. I've just never got round to it.
He's, I think, the central character.
I heard him sing on a chat show once. He's a much better choice for Tom Hardy.
Oh, definitely.
Tom Hardy was originally going to be
I don't think it would have worked, to be honest. I think Edgerton gets it a lot closer to John, to be honest. This podcast, Richard Madden and Jade Bell, I think are very good as well. Madden is so good in it, he almost makes up for the fact that yet again we have one of these biopics that has to fall back on the now well-worn cliche and trope of the boo-hiss gay villain.
Would you say that he is maddeningly good?
Maddeningly, I would indeed.
Cool. I'm sure we're not the first people.
I formed a special bond with him. Anyway, so Dexter Fletcher absolutely owns this. He makes me wish that he had directed all of Bohemian Rhapsody. Because honestly, if he could have done for that what he's brought here, I think this is a much stronger film, and I like Elton John a lot less than I like Queen.
Yeah, get him to do like the Ray Davies biopic or the Clapton biopic next. Or
for a minute there, I misheard and thought you said Craig David. But
well, why can't we have a Craig David?
Why can't we have a Craig David biopic? Damn it! Okay, so Rocketman, absolute win for me. Out now, check it out.
With the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen, the Movie Marker radio show and podcast.
And we're back, Mr. Allen. So where shall we venture next?
I think we should venture to the top 5.
Number 5.
Paw Patrol, Mighty Pups. Which I think is like Mighty Ducks, but with pups.
Well, this is the weird thing. I didn't see it. I didn't even bother trying to review this because as far as I knew...
Because too many people wanted to see it.
Well, that was it. As far as I knew...
It was the event of the season.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah. But actually, for some, it was. This is the weird thing. Now, as far as I knew, this was like when they released the Peppa Pig movies, and it's just, they've put the 5-minute episodes into a 20-episode compendium and put them in cinemas. It's a way to get children used to cinemas, which is a very clever, very good idea.
Why not?
Although I would argue, baby cinema exists. Obviously, my sister goes to baby cinema all the time, takes Hank to see films like she wanted to see The Hustle with him, and which means my 6-month-old nephew has seen a film that I haven't. And
How does it make you feel?
yeah, exactly. But, she like takes him to see the Avengers and things like that, but it's in an environment where it's okay if the baby cries. Now, he apparently really likes, he's 6 months old, he apparently loves Paw Patrol. And my sister asked me, is this a film? And as far as I know, no. Turns out, actually, it's an extended episode. It's about 40-something minutes, and then there's a couple other episodes afterwards. It is the Mighty Pups. The Paw Patrol do superheroes, effectively. Right. That's kind of a gimmick. Something that will come up again in this show, animals doing superheroes. But anyway, I've not seen it. I'm told it's pretty bad. Has anyone tweeted it who has seen it?
Yeah, I'm sure we have.
we'll find that tweet somewhere.
Yes. So, at Going Movies says, Mighty Pups took my 3-year-old to see the Paw Patrol movie. He loved it.
Fair.
I know we have to suffer through it at home, but take your kids to see it if they're a fan. Ain't taking him again, though. Laughing, crying face emoji.
Well, I say, who wouldn't willingly do it twice,
that
would you?
person's got some serious relationship issues with their children.
I was about to say, you've got all this to look forward to, though, haven't you? Taking your kids to see awful young children's films?
Yeah, but like right now, I can he can sit up by himself, so I can plonk him in front of a TV, put on Hey Dougie, and he's cool for like an hour.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
I will.
Number 4.
Dirty Rotten The Hustle Scoundrels.
Which again, my 6-month-old nephew has seen, I haven't. So.
Do you know what this film was going to be called originally?
Nasty Women, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which was a lot cleverer a title, but also, I think the reason not to call it that is based on the response to the final product. I think they would have assumed that using that title would sell a very different film.
Yeah.
Would sell a sharper film.
Remember, Hustler is just such a naff title. It's like
so generic, isn't it?
It's like calling Spy. It's just...
Yeah, I know. That was a weird one. But anyway, I've not seen it, but I presume someone who's tweeted us has. So what have they said?
That's our Janelle. Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson is a community duo I never knew I needed. The Hustle was, and this is spelt with 6 O's.
Okay.
Good.
Number 3.
The 22nd MCU film.
Which, do you know what?
Which I think was a working title for that.
I assume so. The weird thing with Avengers is the more time passes, the more I seem to hold it in reverence.
Yeah.
It is in that way.
In 10 years.
We'll look back on that the way we look back on Return of the King.
I hope so.
I think we genuinely will.
Yeah.
I do love that my uncle, the most cynical man in the world, went to see this movie recently and for the first time came back and said, rubbish that. I said, well, why? I don't want to see superheroes cry. Fair enough.
Well, what's been his issues with... Has he seen some of the other
his
films?
complaint about Infinity War was, there's too many of them now, it's getting silly. They're trying to be just the most cynical man in the world. Anyway, I think he's wrong. I think in 10 years we will look back on that the way we now look back on Return of the King. I do. I think it's just the perfect trilogy closing epic, except in this case not a trilogy.
It's not a trilogy.
A 22-film saga.
In a way, it is a trilogy closer because it sort of brings to end Phase 3. I know that Spider-Man is the actual
the de facto
end, but this is your Game of Thrones episode 9.
Has anyone tweeted us about Endgame? We're waxing lyrical about it. We forgot that there are other people besides us.
I know
the world doesn't revolve around us.
They've not just made me songs for us. not yet.
But there's got to be an Avengers hater or fan out there. Which we got, boy.
We'll see. At Storm_Bringer says, I watched Avengers Endgame and Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 6 the same day. I feel betrayed by the writers. It doesn't specify. It doesn't specify which right. So like both, by the sounds of it. I'm not committing to anything long term again.
Oh, his poor wife.
That's the man who's got a happy marriage, isn't it?
Yes, I say. His poor family, man.
Number 2.
Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
Speaking of that, his poor family. Weird thing. Have you seen that video for this marketing video they've put out for Detective Pikachu?
Was that one with him tap dancing?
No, the one where Ryan Reynolds, to camera, talks about how he got into the psychology of portraying Pikachu.
Oh no, I've not seen it.
Right, I'll tell you nothing. It's hilarious. Watch it. I will find it.
Watch it after this.
It's Brilliant. I think Detective Pikachu is, in one sense, this generation's Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I think if you adjust for cultural inflation, it has that effect. As the children of the Pokemon craze are basically adults now, you look at someone like Calvin, for instance, being pretty much the prime Pokemon.
My 30-year-old best friend, he was obsessed with Pokemon Go.
That's what I mean, yeah, exactly.
Out,
And there are young kids who are just as into Pokemon. So it weirdly has, that fandom has sustained itself. So
absolutely.
This absolutely can be a new Roger Rabbit for multiple generations, which is very strange. However, the film does kind of deserve it. It's hilarious, goofy, heartfelt, fun. I had a great time with it.
But the guy that directed it, he's kind of coming from this world. Yeah. And, like, all of his, like, family-friendly films, he seems to be getting better. Like, he did Gulliver's Travels, which isn't
Not great.
No. But I really enjoyed Goosebumps.
Goosebumps is terrific.
Yeah.
And then this, which is a cut above, I think, even Goosebumps. And yeah, wow, okay, big fan. Has anybody tweeted us about it at all? I imagine we must have a Pokemon fan.
Yes, Nika B, or Nisha B maybe. Detective Pikachu is the kind of movie I wish I have on my laptop all the time and just rewatch when I am feeling down.
Well, you shouldn't have to wait long.
I know. I mean, you go to your GP and we'll give you antidepressants if it's that simple.
I think watching Pokemon and Detective Pikachu, antidepressants is the exact opposite of what you want. I think it's the kind of movie that if you watched hopped up on something, be a surreal experience.
I mean, not even just loads of Haribo and like some Red Bulls.
Number 1.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
We've just been talking about him.
Mr. Wick.
Jonathan. I love how Ian McShane says Jonathan.
I know, it's so great, isn't it? How does he make Jonathan sound like such a cool name?
I know.
Yeah.
Jonathan.
I now kind of wish his name was like Keith. It's like Keith. I feel
Keith
like
Wick.
Yeah, I feel like Ian McShane could make Keith a cool name. Anyway, so John Wick Chapter 3, you've seen it, I've seen it. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's very, very good.
I do. I think it's the perfect sweet spot between the stripped-down action of the first movie and the excessive mythology of the second.
I think the world building it.
They found the happy medium, and they found it in the biggest, boldest one of these yet.
There's a scene where Bronn turns up.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a line. I won't say. But
I know exactly what you mean as well.
It just
he's terrific, isn't he? It's just that small role, and he's just like he's so much fun.
Yeah,
like, I need Jerome Flynn in more things.
Hopefully we'll get him.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But so has anyone tweeted us about John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum?
It's a big title.
It's a big title,
isn't it?
John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. Sorry.
Yeah. Reloaded.
Yeah.
At Danny Sullivan says, so John Wick movie was very, very good. Some respect for the Dewey Decimal System too.
Well, it's important to have priorities. Referring to John Wick's latest weapon of opportunity.
Oh, right. I wasn't about smart.
I've not been treating
that straight away.
I wasn't treating that as a spoiler, by the way. I don't think it is. But in the first 5 minutes of the movie, John Wick kills a dude with a book. And it's just
great.
Amazing.
Yes.
And the movie's so great that by the end of the movie, you could well have forgotten that.
Yeah, he's rekindled my love affair with books.
Give a hoot, read a book. So can we jump straight into John McEnroe just for time reasons? Is that okay?
Yeah. Is that allowed? Is that legal?
I'll be honest.
Into Johnny Mac?
He doesn't strike me as the nicest person in the world. So,
well, after watching this,
one could say he might have it coming. So, John McEnroe in the realm of perfection. This is an odd little thing, this one. Okay, so to synopsise what this is a chronicle of the 1984 French Open Finals, where John McEnroe played against, now I've got this written down, it was Ivan Lendl, yeah. This has been put together by the director, I'm trying to remember the director's name, Farot. I forget his first name. Director, I will look it up when we play the clip. The director Farot, who was basically working as an archivist, and he was archiving loads of old film by the sports director Gilles de Carmanac. Gilles de Carmanac, it turned out, had loads of 16mm footage of this 1984 French finals that nobody had ever seen. He just put it in a cupboard and forgot about it until Farot found it as part of his archival job. He has now taken that away independently and edited it into a documentary about tennis. A documentary about that grudge match that saw John McEnroe humiliated in front of the world. A documentary about cinema and fate and humanity and the human spirit. Here's a clip.
Gilles de Kermadec was fascinated by slow motion, by how movement is broken down. He was fascinated by everything that allows you to see what the eyes can't see. You ask yourself while watching a horror film, where do these phantom and hordes of ghosts come from? That's before you realize that it's unwise to build your house on an old burial ground.
Yeah.
Wow, that's intense.
It is a bit, isn't it? So it's a documentary about tests. It looks incredible. It looks like what you imagine French museums will look like in 100 years' time when they present these things as holograms. It does look like that. I mean, it is. It's so 3008. You know, it's like that. It's a little bit of a convoluted exercise. So on the one hand, you have the really intriguing portrait that it's painting of John McEnroe, which, you know, if you, like me, you only really know the bit of his story that Shia LaBeouf played last year, you know, really well, I should add.
Yeah, it was all right, actually.
And if you only know that bit, then it's intriguing to see this next chapter of that story, and this did work for me. It did give me more of a portrait of the man in pretty much the same way that Borg McEnroe did as well. Only here, you know, it's incredible looking, restored 16mm footage. It's cool, it's pithy, it's stylish, it's very, very French, which means it likes to wander off into this sort of stream of consciousness style, pseudo-philosophical, you know, exploration of the human psyche, which really doesn't work quite as well as it should. It's, you know, when it works, but the meandering and the wandering off prove really trying. It's an interesting experiment, though. I would recommend it if you're intrigued by John McEnroe or you're just a tennis fanatic. Definitely check it out, but there's no crossover appeal. If you're on the fence or not a fan of any of this stuff, this is not for you.
No.
With the latest film news and reviews, this is Offscreen, the Movie Marker radio show and podcast.
And we're back, Mr. Allen. So, should we do a review next? Should we have a look at a film?
Yeah, and what film will that be? Let's look at The Secret Life of Pets 2.
Which just, it strikes you as a pretty unoriginal title, doesn't it? But then you actually watch the film and it's a little bit more remarkable than its title would suggest. So, do you remember, was it 3 years ago, The Secret Life of Pets? It was 2016, wasn't it?
Was it?
First, I think it was.
Yeah, it was either two, it was 2 or 3.
The really strange thing about our film, you might remember this, is that they marketed it with, we've got a load of like cable TV comedians, they're voicing pets.
We've got Eric Stone Street, we've got
Jenny Slay, Louis C.K.
somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't know if we were allowed to say it.
We can say the name in that case, because that was the case at the time. Yeah.
That was, it was a different time.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've got all these cable comedians. We've got what's basically the Toy Story gimmick, but it's your pets. It's what do they do when you're not paying attention? And they have lives of their own. And we've got a million of them in what seems to be an almost post-Quentin Tarantino anthology Pulp Fiction kind of a way.
Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, Pulp Fiction. Yeah, brilliant. I like that one. Thank you. And so you then got the film, and what you got was just Toy Story. We've now had...
Yeah, it was ultimately.
It was. It really was Toy Story. It's, you know, the new arrival usurps the old favourite. They get separated from the home, have to get back.
Yeah.
The rest of their friends band together and help them or hinder them, etc. Yeah. So, we then get a sequel for which the marketing has been more or less the same. It has been, again, here are loads of little mini-movies featuring different characters on different adventures. You think, yes, but fool me once, George W. Bush. Fool me twice, George W. Bush. And then you get to the film, and it turns out, yeah, you see that gag works, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It also saves you from having to actually remember what order it goes in. But, so it's clever but stupid at the same time. Anyway.
That's how I describe this show.
Exactly, yeah. It's clever but stupid at the same time. Yeah. It's George W. Bush, the show. But no one's ever describing George W. Bush.
No, I don't know who we would be president. Like, if we could...
Clever but stupid.
Yeah, which...
Gerald Ford, maybe?
Are we a Republican podcast? I don't know.
Yeah, but Republicans weren't necessarily evil that much back. They weren't that evil back then.
They've had different interests.
Yeah, they started to become evil. Anyway,
we're not Jimmy Carter.
We're becoming bleeding hot liberals again. We need to stop. Anyway, so you get to Secret Life of Pets 2.
Yes.
and the film itself, and it turns out they've actually made the film they marketed this time.
I like the idea of it being just separate little vignettes or smaller stories and they're all coming together into one.
So, imagine, if you will, effectively 3 half-hour storylines. You've got one featuring Max and Duke. So, with Patton Oswalt filling in for the voice of Max. And by the way, I checked the timeline on this. That happened at such a stage regarding the calendar and scandals, etc. They cannot have altered the script for this. They can't have. This is still the script that he would have voiced had he not.
Do you think that original cast member, do you think that he'd already started work on this?
I would imagine it had to, given the timescale, I would imagine it would have to have happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, Patton Oswalt's filled the void, and he does a pretty good job. The idea this time is Max and Duke's owner has met a man. She has gotten married. They've had a kid. And there is a new arrival in the house. And at first, the dogs don't particularly like the new arrival, because all he does is cry and poke them. And then one day, the new arrival hugs them and falls in love with them, and they become his best friends in the world. And all he wants is to be a dog. But in becoming a surrogate parent, Max somehow gains all the neuroses of a parent, and thus has to get taken to a farm with the whole family on a sort of family getaway to unwind and get away from the stresses of the city. While there, they meet an alpha dog named Rooster, voiced by Harrison Ford, who behaves like Harrison Ford. So, yeah, I know.
Do you understand the word that he says?
Oh, no, he's absolutely brilliant in it. But you've also got other storylines going. He basically, Rooster becomes the sort of Jay Pritchett-like, old-school alpha character who has to teach Max how to man up and parent, damn it.
I like that.
Meanwhile, Duke's just off enjoying himself.
Just being Eric Stone Street.
Being Eric Stone Street.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you've got Snowflake the bunny rabbit. Kevin Hart. He has taken to superhero games and put himself out there into the world as a superhero for hire. And yeah, I know. And he is hired by a Shih Tzu played by Tiffany Haddish to go and rescue a tiger who's being held against its will at a local circus.
Who plays the tiger?
Do you know? I don't know offhand. I'll check during the clip. Meanwhile, there's another storyline. Told you. Meanwhile, there's another storyline in which Max has left his favourite chew toy in the world with Gidget while he goes off on holiday.
And Gidget, was that Jenny Slate?
That was Jenny Slate. I think she was a Pomeranian. Not quite sure.
She was very puffy.
She was very puffy. However, she has an accident. She drops the chew toy out onto the fire escape, and it lands in the neighbour's apartment downstairs, an apartment that belongs to a crazy cat lady. So a rescue mission must be launched, whereby Gidget has to learn how to become a cat, being instructed by Lake Bell's character, the actual cat. And yeah, so I'll tell you what, here's a clip of, I don't know, Kevin Hart doing some superhero moves.
Let me tell you something. Anybody comes in here looking for trouble? Oh, well, they gonna meet my partners. I'm talking about Paul and Order.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, you do know that your owner is just playing superhero, right? You're just wearing some superhero pajamas.
Ha! Tiny dog, you so naive. Point me in the direction of any animal who needs my help and stand back. What? Hell, that blow! What the? That what?
Right, on paper, it kind of sounds like, do you know when you have a big animated film?
Yeah.
And then they try to capitalise on that by making, like, shorter versions of that, like little cartoons, little TV
Like
shows.
Netflix's How to Train Your Dragons thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of things.
Yeah, on paper, yes, I can see, yeah.
And kind of like when the Disney Channel, back in the day, would do like the Hercules TV show.
Exactly
or
that.
The Aladdin TV show.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you mean, yeah. This does, on paper, read like that. However, it quite clearly has been designed for the theatrical format. Those three stories are intertwined at points. There are inciting incidents, for instance, like Max has to go and give the chew toy to Gidget, for instance. So he sets up that storyline.
Right.
It's very much like one of our favourite Simpsons episodes, 22 short films about Springfield.
So it all comes back around.
It does all come back around. It does all tie together into one specified conclusion. Cool. For instance, where I think Max kind of has to become the de facto character because it is his movie, more or less. He's always the primary character. So he has to take over for the conclusion. It's quite charming. It's quite heartfelt. What they've done is they've doubled down on the gags, which, good move. They've doubled down on the heartfelt owner-pet stuff that made up the first 10 minutes of the first movie and gone for a lot more of that across the board. And bringing the child into it and the way they explore that is really effective. I thought it was really sweet. The idea, the way they've portrayed Max, for instance, as the neurotic parent, but it's a dog, is done in quite a clever way.
I don't think that's really been done before as well.
It hadn't, no. But I did think the voice casting in particular, Patton Oswalt brings a certain warmth to him that his predecessor necessarily did not.
I mean,
and I think that's needed.
Name any animated TV show that's been on for 15 years. Patton Oswalt has been on it at some point.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, it's insane, isn't it?
But yeah, I think it's very sweet, very funny. It's a laugh out loud movie. It works because it stops and takes the time to make you care every now and again. I thought it was great. I really did. I didn't expect this to be anywhere near as good as it was. The first, I don't think, is particularly memorable.
I remember you being really excited for the first.
Yeah, it was perfectly fine. But it wasn't
Toy Story.
Yeah, but it wasn't more than that. It was perfectly fine. I had some laughs. Didn't necessarily remember it a week later. But this, I feel like I'd remember it at least an extra week. You know what I mean? I won't remember this 2 weeks from now. You know what I mean?
But when it's on DVD release and someone's like, "Oh,
I'll watch it again."
Like, "Oh yeah, it was good."
I'll watch this again, and when Hank's slightly older and watching animated films, I'm looking forward to popping these on. Yeah. But so you got a piece of film news you want to do me with?
I've got a really big piece of film news, but shall we? I don't know whether to just.
Should we move on and do it quick? Do it when we've got more time.
Let's do a review instead.
Okay.
Let's go mad. Let's have more time for our review.
In which case, let's talk then about Booksmart, which this is a strange one. This is opening on Monday. Okay.
Oh, that's odd. Why is that?
Yeah, this is weird. It's opening on Monday 27th because it's half term next week.
Oh, that makes sense.
Well, it's half term in the north at least next week. So they're releasing this on Monday. This is the directorial debut of Olivia Wilde, who has directed what you could really, you could in a reductive way describe as Superbad for girls. Which kind of makes it funny then that one of the leads is Beanie Feldstein, sister of Jonah Hill, one of the leads in Superbad. Yeah. Now, in the place of Michael Cera, you have Caitlin Dever here as well. And
I don't know what I know her from.
She is one of those. Oh, she's that girl from that thing. I will look it up. I really like Caitlin Dever. I've seen her in a bunch of stuff, but I will check the IMDb list.
Yeah, I'll have a look now.
Yeah, please do. I think she's in like Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day.
But I remember seeing that film.
She is in that. But so this is the idea that they are two high school seniors. It is the last day of school. Right? Last day, and then it's summer, and we're off to college. They discover that they have been sacrificing their personal lives, their fun time, all these years in the pursuit of their educational success for nothing, when it's brought to their attention that actually all the popular kids got into all the Ivy League schools as well. So, this being the last day, the last night, let's cut loose a little. Here's a clip.
Let's go to Nick's party.
Are you kidding? No way.
We only have one night left to have studied and partied in high school. Otherwise, we're just gonna be the girls that missed out. We haven't done anything. We haven't broken any rules.
Okay. We've broken a lot of rules. One, we have fake IDs.
Fake college IDs so we can get into their 24-hour library.
Name one person whose life was so much better because they broke a couple of rules.
Picasso.
He broke art rules. Name a person who broke a real rule.
Rosa Parks.
Name another
Susan B. Anthony.
God damn it.
Nobody knows that we are fun.
We know.
They need to know.
Who is they?
We are not one-dimensional. We are smart and fun.
This is the weird thing, because I think a lot of the shock value of this film would only work if you had no idea who Beanie Feldstein was. But you and I actually do. We do. We've seen her in a bunch of stuff. She's in What We Do in the Shadows at the moment.
Yeah, I didn't realise how much she was going to be in that.
Yeah, big player.
She's almost like a lead character.
So we know she's hilarious.
Yeah, isn't she in the sequel to Bad Neighbours?
She is in. She's one of the three main girls in Bad Neighbours.
She's really funny.
She is really funny. She is every inch her brother's sister as well, and she carries this in more or less the same way that Jonah Hill carried Superbad. Don't get me wrong; the films structurally are very similar. Okay. However, in terms of the tone, the intelligence, and the sort of focus of it, what you get is something actually a lot higher brow and something a lot closer to almost Harmony Korine at times. Olivia Wilde just has these moments where she just drops everything and runs headfirst into Harmony Korine. And brilliantly, though, she punctuates this for comic effect with the introduction of the love interest. So every time the love interest appears, this movie goes full Spring Breakers for 10 seconds.
Amazing.
It's brilliant. It's got such wit. Do you remember Can't Hardly Wait? because we watched that together a few years ago, didn't we?
Anybody order a love burger?
Yeah, you know that gag in Can't Hardly Wait where Sherman from American Pie keeps turning up in the background and stealing things?
Yes.
They takes a cop car and things like that.
yeah.
Right. They do that in this movie with Billie Lourd.
Oh, really?
And she's hilarious in it.
Cool.
She's my favourite part of this movie. Also, Skylar Gisondo from Santa Clarita Diet, Vacation reboot.
Oh, I like him a lot.
I'm a big fan of that kid.
Yeah.
He's great in this. And he's got almost the sort of McLovin role, I would say, in this. Yeah. I was a very big fan of it. Jason Sudeikis, Will Forte, Lisa Kudrow, great support from them. I thought it was a trip, especially Sudeikis, for obvious reasons. He's gotten himself a plum role in this one. I mean, you know, it's not like he has to reach very far across the coffee table for the for access to the director, is it?
Can I have a job?
I took Coulson to see this with me, and I don't think he had any interest really in seeing it until he'd seen the trailer. He went, "Yeah, I'll see that." We saw the movie and laughed ourselves senseless. It is very heartfelt. It is very sincere. It is super bad for an entire generation of teenage girls now, as in it's slightly more contemporary than super bad. I would say it's not as lowbrow in any sense as Superbad was. Does the same thing, kind of achieves the same results. I'd argue this is a lot stronger. But yeah, just a really great directorial debut and a really hilarious movie. You and Cassie.
I'm really excited.
You and Cassie will absolutely eat this up when you see it. It's one of those. But if Baby Cinema run it.
Baby cinema.
If Baby Cinema's a thing, if you go and see it there.
Baby cinema is a thing, but I feel like every time we want to go, we're always showing like at Eternity's Gate and films we would never want to watch.
Give the babies what they want.
Yeah.
With the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen, the Movie Marker radio show and podcast.
And we're back for one last ride, Mr. Allen. So, let's talk about some film news for a second. What do you got for me? What's been going on?
I have some small news.
Small news.
Small news.
Minuscule.
Bob Pattinson as
an indie film.
An indie film.
Has Robert Pattinson
might be. Yeah.
Has Robert Pattinson got himself another art house indie film?
Do you know what? He bloody has, and that one is called Batman.
Because it's going to be it's going to be more of a gritty, hard-boiled thing, isn't it? Yeah, they wanted to have more of an indie sensibility.
You can tell it's going to be gritty because it's called The Batman.
Oh yes.
They're going full Nolan with it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
They're going to Dark Knight the Dark Knight.
Can you darken the Dark Knight?
None more black. It's like Spinal Tap.
Oh,
yeah.
Or just very, very dark grey.
Very, very dark grey.
So Robert Pattinson.
It's pretty much happening.
It's confirmed enough.
It's confirmed enough now, but I think we can just say that it's happening. So it was, I think, the shortlist. So it was obviously Robert Pattinson. There was Nicholas Hoult. So apparently they were the top two.
They wanted someone young. That was the interesting thing. They wanted someone of a very specific age.
However, Robert Pattinson, 2 years older than Christian Bale when he started doing Batman Begins.
Yeah, I was shocked to learn this. Yeah. He was 31 when he was Batman.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson's 33.
Wow, I had no idea Bale was that young.
Well, you've seen Newsies, right?
Well, I mean, this is the thing, because you see Christian Bale when he's a child actor, and then, like, 2 minutes later, he just looks like he does in The Prestige. And then he reaches his sort of middle-aged Jesus stage, which he's currently in, and,
Yeah.
But having said that, Christian Bale can still shave off his new-age, middle-aged Jesus stage and look like Christian Bale whenever he wants. That's the weird thing.
Yeah, he's got a weird command of his entire body, hasn't he?
Yeah,
I'm sure when he's like 80, he could just be like, boom, I'm going to be 30 again.
I shall star in this movie.
I will be this person.
But Pattinson's 33, huh?
33.
33.
33. So the other people on the list, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, which I am...
No, anyone but Aaron Taylor-Johnson.
But he is going to be in Nolan's new film. We'll talk about that later.
Yes, we will.
Yeah. As is Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So we can talk about that.
Yeah, but remember when Dunkirk was coming out? Everyone who was ever in like a Batman movie or an Nolan movie was in Dunkirk.
I know, strange, isn't it?
Yeah, really weird thing.
But how do you feel about it? If that's going to happen,
I'll be really honest with you. I feel about it like someone's just said, "Oh, we've not got clotted cream rice pudding. It's just regular rice pudding." I don't particularly care. The end result is the same. It's a Batman movie. I'm personally quite tired of Batman. Like, I'm sure the movie will actually be fine. I'm sure the movie could even be great. But I haven't cared about a Batman movie in nearly a decade. And I think Yeah, I really cared about the Dark Knight. I really cared about Dark Knight Rises, tell a lie. But after that, I've not cared
The
much
hype
about
surrounding Dark Knight Rises was huge.
the culture that has surrounded Batman since the Dark Knight. To be honest, has ruined Batman for me. It's taken a lot of the fun out of Batman for me. I've not even particularly had the motivation to carry on with the Batman Arkham games because that culture just ruins it for me. It's a lot like Rick and Morty culture. You just you get tired of it. You're just like, I really don't want to have to put up with this.
There's a lot of like 40-year-old fanboys just being like, Michael Keaton is my Batman.
But there's a lot of pandering to those fanboys. And
there's so much, definitely.
The Ben Affleck era of Batman has almost entirely been that.
Well, I still like Ben Affleck as a Batman. There was just not a good Batman film.
No, not
and
at
he
all.
didn't particularly have great lines, but him, like, his presence, the way that he took it, at least with that first appearance, I thought he was really solid.
That was it. But you do sit there and think, like, with Batman, you do think there's all the potential in the world to do something great with Batman. I always thought Nolan had preemptively made the reimagining before anyone had actually made the proper one. So...
Right, I see what you're saying.
You see what I mean?
Because
no one reinvented Batman.
Arguably, the Tim Burton one is not a proper Batman.
We've never really had what you would define as a traditional Batman, which is basically take Adam West and do it seriously. You know what I mean? Take Adam West and do it seriously. That actually is Batman.
Yeah.
And arguably, the 1990s animated show is that. Is literally that. What if you do Adam West but serious? And
so we've got the voice back. We've got.
Oh yeah,
what's his name?
Kevin Conroy. The 90s animated Batman show, that is the definitive Batman in any shape or form. Everything it does with Batman is terrific. The way it brings, it even invented characters that they had to adopt into the rest of the culture because the animated show just came up with such great stuff. But I say, if you want to do The Batman, and it's basically Batman Year One with Robert Pattinson as a sort of Kevin Conroy-ish Batman.
Yeah,
I have all
detective stuff.
Yeah, I have all the time in the world for that.
As do I. And looking at him as an actor from the last 8 years, he's been pretty consistently good.
People have said Cosmopolis is the touchstone point for his Batman. In the same way that American Psycho was the touchstone point for Christian Bale's
Batman. And I can totally see that. Do you know, that was a few years removed as well.
Yeah. No, that I would be very happy with that kind of a comparison, that kind of contrast.
Yeah. But just some of the films that he's been, like The Rover was really good. And
High Life recently.
High Life, you said, was really good.
Good Time?
Good Time was amazing.
Yeah, it was Good Time. But, Oh, and Childhood of a Leader. He was in that, which was Brady Corbett's directorial debut.
Yes. Yeah, that
because
was
he
really
followed
good.
that up recently with Vox Lux, didn't he?
What's the Lost City of Z?
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, he got quite big. James King was a big fan of him in that.
Yeah.
James King.
But he's done a lot of those like Otter-driven ones. And then, he's going to be one of the leads in a bloody Chris Nolan film.
Yeah.
So there's got to be something there. He's not just the sparkly vampire.
Oh, no. So, speaking of sparkle, can we do the final review of the week?
Yeah.
Final radio review of the week.
we can.
Let's talk about Aladdin.
Let's do it. So this just came out in 1993, 1994, yeah.
So 93's Aladdin, and believe me, this is an adaptation. Because typical Disney live action adaptation, this is an adaptation of their animated film, not any other version. Okay, Beauty and the Beast pushed that envelope a little bit by incorporating some music from the stage show, which had by that point taken on a life and a fan base of its own anyway. This adds one original song and a couple of supporting characters to kind of pad it out. This is 48 minutes longer than the original animated one. I think, at a guess. If you take the original to be 90 minutes, this would be 38 minutes longer. So it's basically then a third longer. Is it a third better? Well, it is basically the same exact story. Guy Ritchie has shot it, and I say that in the loosest possible sense. It stars Mina Massoud and Naomi Scott as Aladdin and Jasmine, respectively, and Will Smith is the genie. You know the story. Diamond in the rough, street rat, pickpocket, thief, Aladdin.
I'm disappointed you didn't sing Street Rat.
Yeah, riff raff, street rat, I don't buy that.
Nice.
Who takes one jump over the bread line. Anyway, I'm not going down there. Okay, anyway. As you can tell, I know Aladdin very well. So he falls in love with the princess. The princess can only marry a prince. He finds a magic lamp, rubs it.
Hijinks
ensue. He becomes a prince. Prince Ali, wah. And...
Strong as
10. Regular men. Take it from me. Here's a clip.
Hey, can you make me a prince?
There is a lot of gray area in Make Me a Prince. I could just make you a prince.
Oh, no.
Right, you'll be snuggled up with that dude for the rest of your life.
Y'all see my palace?
Be specific with your words. The deal is in the detail.
Got it.
Which I don't really understand, because if she already likes you, why change?
I told you, she has to marry a prince.
I just want to go home, man.
Okay, I can do that.
Now, doesn't he sound an awful lot like Hitch in that scene?
Yeah.
He does.
Was someone just comparing this film? Like, I'm sure, like, someone has said this film is just like Hitch.
Right, here's the weird thing. Right. Will Smith has filmed about 90% of this on a green screen, presumably away from the rest of the film.
Not a blue screen.
Not a blue screen. Although that would have been clever. Anyway, but no, because you could make him up with blue makeup and then put him on a green screen. But so this is the idea. So much of Will Smith's stuff, but the CG is kind of ropey in this, so you can visibly tell what's been filmed on a green screen. Now, because so much of Will Smith's role has taken place away from everyone else, or maybe with just one person and not the actual physical set, it quickly becomes obvious that Will Smith has been pitched a very, very different film to everyone else in this. Will Smith has visibly, at some point, been told this was going to be a RuPaul-inspired hip-hop take on Aladdin. And what Will Smith has done with that is to interpret it as, I'm going to do Fresh Prince with a bit of Hitch and a Master of Ceremonies. Now, that movie, I want to see. I desperately want to see.
Is that not what this is?
That is not what this is.
That's kind of what it feels like. That's what you see of Virginia in the trailers.
Right, because that's the movie Will Smith is showing up and performing in. Nobody else is in that movie. Everyone else is in a lackluster pantomime. So, this, first of all, could be the least capably directed musical I have ever seen. 90% of this is shot...
And you've seen Mamma Mia?
And I've seen Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
Rocketman this week is a better musical than Aladdin.
What about, I'm trying some of the bad ones, what about Rock of Ages?
Better than this. Better than this as a musical.
That's got Tom Cruise being John Bon
I mean, everything is shot in a medium wide. Everything's that same medium wide shot. Every single scene, medium wide shot. Oh, is it an intense emotion? Like medium wide. Big musical, medium wide. Exactly. Everything's a medium wide. And it's not helped by the fact the CGI is just a dumpster fire.
Yeah. Is it like those fairies in Maleficent?
Yes.
That's why I
exactly that. It was badly lit.
I couldn't finish Maleficent because of they were too like kind of uncanny.
Yeah, exactly. Maleficent, only one of these movies that this is better than, incidentally.
Right.
The CG is terrible. The sound mixing is terrible to the extent that when they do a pretty lame reenactment of a whole new world, they actually drown out Jasmine at one point, which is kind of counterproductive. Jafar is horribly miscast. Mina Masood's just doing an impersonation. The Jasmine character, an attempt to update her, really runs this thing into the ground.
I think people have had some issues with the Jafar casting just before we even saw it, but like...
Yeah.
I think if you were to get an older actor, if you were to get an Odad Fair, because obviously
that was my go-to,
that's who you want, and everyone else wanted Ben Kingsley, wouldn't it be a bit creepy? Because Jasmine's meant to be a teenage girl.
No, they've shaved a lot of that away. They've removed a lot of the sleazier components of that dynamic, incidentally. They have also removed Red Jasmine, if you're wondering, so nil pois from me. But it's a thing.
So that's why it's your favourite Disney film.
Anyway, but this is the thing. So it's a film that's so badly written that at one point that they never explain Jafar's actual motivation, but at one point they stop and give a 5-minute backstory to Hakim, the head of security. Really. An actual origin story for Hakim, the head of security, when you've not explained what the hell the motivation of the villain is.
Was that what the head of security was called in the...
No idea.
Even have
I don't think
there is a head of security.
There is. I don't think he has a name. However, Will Smith, great. Naomi Scott, great, despite the fact the character is garbage. And Nazim Pedrad from New Girl.
Oh, she's amazing.
You know who plays Winston's love interest in New Girl? She's in this as a new character, Dahlia, who's been introduced as a sort of handmaiden for Jasmine. So she has someone to talk to.
I think she's there because Raja, I can imagine.
Raja is in the film.
But he's not like a character in the way that Raja is in the...
He is actually. This is the thing. I think we were lied to about that because Raja still behaves relatively like a guard dog. Anyway, the whole thing is, the film is drivel. The film is garbage. But Will Smith is not. And Will Smith's appearing in a different movie to everyone else. And that movie is great. That's the movie, incidentally.
So what might be worth going for, then? Is it worth staying at home and waiting until it comes to you for?
Yes.
Right.
However, I will tell you, this is the defining, because there's little hints of that movie, though, which you think had to have existed at some point, and nowhere is that stronger than when it cuts to black at the very end and says directed by Guy Ritchie, and the first thing you hear is, Will Smith, did you call it? Boom.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a big name on the credits, though, isn't he? So you kind of can't blame him for that.
When you hear that, you're like, I really wish you'd made this movie. Why did you not make this movie? It was obviously a consideration at some point.
Well, maybe they should have got a director with a little bit more... I don't want to say more energy, because, like...
Yeah, no energy to it.
Yeah, but Guy Ritchie has made very energetic films.
No, none of that. Even the street rat running through the... jumping through buildings, things like that.
Because that's the reason why I thought you'd get someone like Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, you would think, wouldn't you? After Sherlock Holmes and King Arthur...
Yeah,
you would
which
assumed.
I've still not watched.
Yeah, don't watch King Arthur, it's terrible. Anyway, epic fail. Epic fail. Second worst one of these.
Wow.
But, and
which ones have we had?
We had Maleficent, Jungle Book, Pete's Dragon.
I like Pete's Dragon.
I like Pete's Dragon.
Yeah, I feel like it got a bit of a bad rap. Like, people liked it, but we just kind of forgot it was a thing.
Cinderella I quite liked. But no, this is definitely not one of the better ones. But alas, it is not our film of the week at any rate.
What a shocker.
I know, right?
I mean, it doesn't seem like a bad week, to be fair.
It's been a pretty good week. I really liked Secret Life of Pets. I loved Booksmart. I would see Booksmart this week. I mean, I know it's not out till Monday. If you can't wait till then to see Secret Life of Pets 2 or Rocketman, both are pretty good.
I think Rocketman's going to make all the money.
Huge money,
yeah. Like, it's like especially over here, but it's always going to be compared to Bohemian Rhapsody.
I didn't think Bohemian Rhapsody would do well in America, but it did. Anyway,
people love Freddie.
Next week, some interesting stuff. Next week we've got Sunset, which is the...
What's that?
Sunset is the I don't know, it was a festival movie. I think it was Berlinale last year people were talking about. We've got that to look forward to. Rory's Way with Brian Cox is next week as well. It's a British film which Brian Cox is a terminally ill man who bonds with his estranged son as he's getting treatment. Thunder Road. I don't know anything about this, but people keep talking about it. Jim Cummings.
We've had that on our mutual streaming service for
Godzilla, King of the Monsters is next week.
Yes, with one of my favourite trailer lines ever.
Let them fight?
No, because that was on the last one, and that's great. That's incredible. But no, Kyle Chandler says, "Oh my God," and then Bradley Whitford says, "Zilla."
that's up there with John Malkovich being Nara.
Yeah, I watched that recently as well.
And last but by no means least, I don't think we'll get to review it next week, but Octavia Spencer in Ma. That's out next week. It's not being shown until Thursday night though, so the night before the release. So we'll get to see it.
We shall see it,
but we'll see it eventually. We'll try and see it for the following week. In the meanwhile, that's all for us on the radio side of this. So download the podcast edition for more news, a review of XY Chelsea, and our signature moment of Cage, of course. In the meanwhile, this has been a Candy Store production for Movie Market. I've been Van Connor.
And I was the fifth choice to be the new Batman.
We'll be back.
Just show me the way to get out of here, and I'll be on my way.
You've been listening to Offscreen. For more movie news, reviews, and more, visit moviemarker.co.uk.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.
Podcast extras are happening right now in your ears.
In your ears?
In your ear holes.
That's one of our. I think that's one of our marketing slogans. Everything big in movies, in your ears.
Right in your ears.
Yeah.
Getting right on up there.
But can we talk about this minor controversy that's erupted around Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino's new film?
Oh, well, it's just a minor one, isn't it?
It's just a minor one, and this is a French journalist has asked Tarantino about if he thinks it's fair to describe Sharon Tate's character, Margot Robbie, as having few lines in the actual film. And his response is, well, I just reject your hypothesis. At which point he then just left the room.
Gone. Amazing.
That's I can't sanction your buffoonery all over again.
Yes, it is.
That's what
I think we're both going to adopt that, aren't we?
Yeah. I just reject your hypothesis.
Yeah,
totally. That's getting really good reviews out of Cannes.
Yes, it is. It's getting a lot of 5-star reviews, and I read once that said that it is Tarantino's sweetest film.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, it's not something I'd expect of him.
No, he said, but it's got some of your classic Tarantino, but it's got gore in places where you think it's going to have gore and that sort of thing. But then it's quite hopeful at the end.
Huh.
And he's like an actual fairy tale as well.
I look forward to it. I mean, it looks fun.
I look forward to it.
It does look like it's got some swagger, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. I think of you for some reason as being someone that is not a huge Tarantino fan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not particularly a huge Tarantino.
Just like the ones that we've done together.
I think he's
we've got a few
made
things
a
about
couple of surprisingly good ones. I thought Hateful Eight was better than it had any right to be.
Yeah.
But,
and I love Django and I love Inglourious Bastards.
I see. I couldn't get into Django or Inglorious.
Oh, so maybe.
But yeah, I mean, time will tell on that one.
Yeah.
So the Nolan movie that has a title now.
Yeah, we could talk about it. Oh man.
Yeah.
Tenet.
Tenet.
So he's breaking with tradition and he's gone with a one-word title.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Tenet. Nobody knows what it means.
So, it's got Kenneth Branagh, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Clemens Posey, Dimple Kapadia.
Which is my favourite name of all time.
I know. Yep. And, of course, Michael Caine. Joining John David John David Washington.
Who's apparently the lead.
Yeah, and Elizabeth Debicki and Robert Pattinson. And this is described as an adventure in the world of international espionage.
Yes.
To be shot in 7 countries.
Yes, described as a globe-trotting adventure that dabbles in international espionage with shades of a mind-bending Inception, but also somehow involves a time continuum a la Interstellar.
Huh, okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, and Tenet, by definition...
What does it mean, yeah?
A principle or belief, especially one of the main principles of a religion or philosophy.
So for something very Nolan-y then.
Yeah.
Something very Nolan-y. It doesn't sound like a soft scoop title, does it?
No, it does not. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, of course.
What's this nonsense now about Dan Aykroyd penning a prequel to Ghostbusters?
Yeah, with like teenage Ghostbusters.
Like, seriously, Dan?
Yeah.
Seriously?
So it'd be like Venkman meeting them.
I tell you something. That's it. Didn't we do this with Scooby-Doo when they met and fought zombies in high school?
Yeah.
But now, this is the weird thing, though. Dan Aykroyd will not be happy until there are 96 Ghostbusters movies, each increasingly poorer than the last, and he's somehow involved in every single one of them.
Yeah.
But
he's been pretty, like, kind of...
yeah, I mean...
venomous about the last one, wasn't he? He hated it.
I don't understand the hate for the Ghostbusters reboot. I mean, all right, it's not as good as Ghostbusters, but many, many films are not as good as Ghostbusters.
No, but you know what's great about it?
Yeah.
Kate McKinnon, Leslie Jones are great.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, shut up.
If it was just those two pairing up with like their 2 best friends doing some other kind of like hijinks, it'd be amazing.
3 Identical Strangers. We've just been talking about this, haven't we? They're making an actual narrative film out of 3 Identical Strangers.
Get me Armie Hammer.
Exactly. The weird thing is, though, it's going to be written and produced by Anthony McCartan, who gave us Bohemian Rhapsody and Darkest Hour. So I'm not sure how to. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they don't go together.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's quite going to work. But okay,
yeah,
fair. But okay, if anyone doesn't know the story, 3 Identical Strangers is about a guy who went to college and discovered that actually a guy had just left college who happened to be his identical twin.
Had his face.
They then united, only to discover there was a third one as well.
Yeah,
and that this was not the first time this had happened. And it is a really messed up documentary. How that did not get the Oscar.
It didn't get nominated.
Didn't even get nominated, I know.
It was one of those years where like all the big documentaries just kind of got sidelined.
So Minions 2's happening.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Right, cool.
Yeah.
What else do we news?
Minions, The Rise of Gru. Opening July 3rd, 2020.
So it's going to be more of a prequel, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Despicable Me.
Rather than a Minions adventure, this will just be a
I've not seen a Minions movie, but like...
It's not bad.
I actually really like the idea behind it. I really like the story.
It's got Michael Keaton in it.
Has it?
Yes.
Who does he play? Does he play a big bad guy?
He plays the human father of a family in a suburban, like a suburban station wagon, who the Minions hitch a ride with on a road trip to Florida to meet Sandra Bullock's villain.
Right.
So yeah, he's great fun in it as well.
Well, maybe I should check it out.
You should. It's very good.
Yeah.
Derek Kolstad, who is one of the creators of and the writer of the John Wick series.
Okay. Yeah.
He's got a new job. He is going to be penning the upcoming film adaptation of the video game series Just Cause.
I like those games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine John Wick pedigree.
That long.
We're going to have John Wick pedigree doing this.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's basically like Max Payne meets Uncharted, just cause, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Although weirdly,
you get to jump out of planes and stuff.
Yeah. You jump out of planes and shoot people as you fly. Yeah, exactly. Great game.
Your action of shooting people
it's a bit jovial, isn't it? It's a bit Theresa May.
It was a bit.
Theresa May, that. But
strong and stable, man. Strong. And stable.
Yeah. As long as my gunfire is strong and stable. Yeah. So, A Rainy Day in New York. Remember that? That's the.
I have a reminiscence of that.
That's the film Woody Allen had made that Amazon were going to be releasing. Do you remember? Once Upon a Time.
So I think I've heard about this recently. Isn't he now kind of self-releasing it? Has he said that?
Well, Amazon Studios have simply returned the rights.
We don't want it.
Yeah,
they
have literally gone back with. Do you know what? You take this one, Woody. You this one's not for us.
Oh,
you have fun.
You know you've got some problems on your hand when a studio's just like, you do it.
You take the rights back. It's fine. It's fine. You go off on your way. Now, this is the one that stars Elle Fanning and Timothée Chalamet. So let's be really honest. This is not a decision they've taken lightly. Because if you drop a Woody Allen movie starring Elle Fanning and Timothée Chalamet during awards season, let's be honest, the movie could be crap and it will still garner acclaim.
But I guess for the last 5 years, even if it's a halfway decent Woody Allen film, people just don't care anymore.
No, I'm not.
People
not
just want
Jasmine, definitely.
That was the last one I really cared about.
Yeah.
And that was less because it was a Woody Allen film, more because she was amazing in it, and Bobby Cannavale was in it. Yeah.
So I need to talk about a movie really quickly. I need to talk about a documentary, which is XY Chelsea, which is out this week. And XY Chelsea is a documentary in the vein of something like Risk or Citizen 4. You know these very stylized, politically angled profile documentaries, like both of those films I've just named are. This also, incidentally, is produced by the director of those two movies. This, though, comes from Tim Travers Hawking. It's, let's say, a look at the life and the career of Chelsea Manning in... largely within a contemporary context. We get told the backstory and shown archival footage to fill in the gaps to give us the backstory. Right. But it's all about, what she did, where, when, and why, what drove her to it. But it's as much about her own inner turmoil. Obviously, she came out as a trans woman while serving a prison sentence for leaking government secrets, and that's now an intrinsic part of the tale. But the film details that in as much as it details her emotional state and also what she really thinks of Julian Assange, which is something, I'll be really honest, I hadn't considered. Because you just assumed that they were colleagues or something?
You would factor it in, yeah.
Nah, not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
Bad blood.
No. Here's a clip.
It was this endless stream of violence and death and destruction.
I didn't pull the trigger, but I put the guys who pulled the trigger there.
I wanted people to know the things I was seeing. I have all these documents, and
I said, okay, I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to accept the consequences.
What she actually details is that she literally, for time reasons, just went with the first available opportunity, which turned out to be WikiLeaks. They seemed on the level, and obviously because of the modern context of WikiLeaks, that gets questioned. The film basically sees Chelsea Manning trying to be a crusader for what's good and what's right in the modern day, without herself really exploring what the rules of engagement are. Without really exploring the things you can and can't do. At one point, I don't know if you know this story, she tried to be a double agent within an alt-right group.
Yeah, I had read about that.
Yeah, and it went horribly wrong because I think it was the day of the International Women's March and she was photographed with these alt-right people, and she simply hadn't considered that the world now is very different from the one that she left a decade ago before she was incarcerated, and that, social media has its own context now, its own way of, the rage flies quicker than the logic and the reason does. And because she doesn't consider that, it shows her trying to operate on a field she simply doesn't understand. And it creates more difficulty, it creates more drama, it creates more of an obstacle to her own mental well-being, etc. The only problem with it all is it does hinge largely on how intrinsically likeable and engaging you find Chelsea Manning. I personally have always found her a little bit annoying, if I'm honest, because there's a lot of whininess to it. There's a lot of very much of the millennial age bracket whining going on. But if that doesn't bother you, then yes, there is a lot to unpack here, and there's a lot of engagement to it, to be really honest. But it does, for me, it disappears far too often into the emotional side, rather than keeping the focus squarely on the story and allowing her emotional state to simply be the seasoning that carries it. What makes it flavourful along the way. Because that only makes up about half of the runtime, half the movie's good. The other half, a bit less so.
So if it was just like a short film, or just, like an hour long.
I think if they trimmed a lot of Chelsea's own inner turmoil out of this and kept the focus on the story with her emotional... Because the story isn't about her emotional state. I don't particularly... I'm not going to see a documentary about Chelsea Manning because I care about Chelsea Manning's emotional state.
How she feels.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm going to see a Chelsea Manning thing because... we know about Chelsea Manning because of her actions, not because of her feelings. You know what I mean? I don't care about her feelings. Yeah. They weren't printing headlines about her feelings.
Chelsea Manning feels sad.
Yeah, exactly. That was never going to be a consideration. But, So, I say, like Citizen 4 and Risk, there's a lot of that slickly enabled urgency and tension about it, though. But that's squandered on the emotional side. So, yeah. But, it's solid, it works. It works. I just realised I wrote my notes down earlier and I just left the template 4 stars next to XY Chelsea.
So we're giving this really scathing review.
Really confusing.
4 stars.
I was giving it a really scathing review, looking over thinking, why have I given this 4 stars? Was I high?
No, you meant to give that for Aladdin. That 4
exactly.
stars.
What did I give Aladdin? 2 stars.
Just 2?
I just gave it 2 stars. Booksmart was 4, Aladdin was 2, Rocketman was 3, Secret Life of Pets was 4, 2 for John McEnroe and 2 for Chelsea. Anyway, so Daniel Craig's getting surgery.
Yeah, he is. So he busted his ankle when he was filming Bond 25.
Because Kelly and I had talked last week about they'd shut it down for a few days and they were reopening it.
Yeah, I think now they're carrying on while he just gets surgery.
Oh, right.
I'm just filming like the Daniel Craigless bits, the Bondless bits, if you will.
Which is kind of difficult in a movie that's largely about character.
James Bond.
Yeah. Imagine that. Yeah. But yeah, so it looks like it's still going to hold to the release date. Though.
We've not got a title star, have we?
No, we have not. Shatter Ankle seems.
Shatter Ankle.
Shatter Ankle seems a good candidate right now, though.
Yeah.
Right.
God.
You know how I loves me a good package movie. A great concept, the right studio, the right star, etc. Recently, we had this with Chris Hemsworth and the Stripper movie. In which, do you know about this?
I don't.
Chris Hemsworth is going to...
Is that why you call it the package movie?
Wait for it. Wait for it. Chris Hemsworth making Point Break with male strippers.
Yes.
Yes.
I need that.
Co-starring Tiffany Haddish as his.
Oh, is that what that's about?
Yes. And it's called Undercover Down Under. They're Australian strippers.
God, that sounds amazing.
Oh, I know. Paramount have bought that package, by the way, now. So.
Yeah.
Yes. The Loose Cannon partner, by the way, that's Tiffany Haddish. Meanwhile, Constantine film. Know those?
Paul W.S. Anderson.
Right, Paul W.S. Anderson, right, okay. So, Constantine film, they have something of a root in the schlockier end of big budget cinema.
You're being nice.
Oh, well, let's be honest. The Resident Evil series is a B-movie series, but it's basically got the budget, comparatively, of a AAA title.
And, they've made bank.
They've made serious money.
Because they don't spend a lot.
So much money, in fact, that they've decided they'd like to do the Meg for a different animal. So...
A dog.
No, not quite. So, Constantine Film are going to produce an as-yet untitled action horror film about the emergence of a prehistoric creature known as the Titanoboa.
Oh, what is that? Some kind of snake?
The Titanoboa was an extinct creature that lived in Colombia and could grow up to 12.8 metres long and weighed over a metric ton. The remit that they have announced to the world is they are going to do the Meg with snakes.
I'm in.
Yep.
Oh.
In.
Part of me wanted it to be a woolly mammoth.
Right. Guess better.
But surely that comes into it.
Oh, I know. Well, just do what the Meg did, which is basically hint at a world filled with other things.
Yeah.
Because we'll get that Meg sequel, and you know where it's going to go.
Do you think it was going to be a big old squid? Just like a giant
Well,
squid.
it's going to have to be something. They're either going to have to go to the world or something else is going to come out of that world.
You want them to go... I just want the whole film to be underwater. But, perhaps Just have Statham talk. Just reason with a big shark.
This is going to be the one where they psychically link Jason Statham with a shark, isn't it?
What would be like Pacific Rim? It?
Yeah, I think that's what'll happen.
He like walks into a big shark.
Mecha Shark? Mecha Shark.
Mecha
That's
Shark,
happened on Sci-Fi Channel. Right, so much of the same producing team that did Resident Evil will be making this. That same team recently finished the movie adaptation of the video game series Monster Hunter as well.
Nice.
Which I am very much looking forward to.
What was this called again? So what is the creature called?
The Titanoboa.
Titanoboa? Or Titanoboa? Like...
Tit-an-o-boa.
Say that again for me, please.
Tit-an-o-boa.
Titanoboa.
Titanoboa.
Used to know a girl called Titanoboa.
Titanoboa.
Yeah.
I knew a girl named Titanoboa once. That was a long time ago when I was young.
I was a different man.
Now a day goes by and I don't think of the promise I made that day on Gordon Street.
Right. Wow, that's big, isn't it?
Going to be written by the guy who wrote Doom Annihilation, Tony Giglio, a movie which I'm just going to remind everyone of this. He's going to star my buddy Cassidy Little. He's going to be in that movie. Can't wait. So look forward to that. Meanwhile, someone with increasingly fewer things to look forward to, Jason Mitchell. Yeah. Who has evidently been kicked off of more or less everything he was working on. Apparently, bit of a dick.
Yeah, I've heard that. So there's been a lot of allegations.
There's been
sexual harassment allegations against him. He was on a show called The Chi, which is
yeah.
the Lena Waithe show, which I've not watched, but I really want to watch it. I wanted to watch it for a while.
Yeah, I hadn't.
I think it's on season 2 now, or is it about
something
to be
like
on
that?
season 2?
They're currently filming season 2, I think, at the moment.
Right.
Because the turnaround said he won't be coming back for number 3. He's also been dropped from Desperados, which was a movie he was making
for Netflix.
Yep. Gunpowder Milkshake.
Yes, it's such a good title, isn't it?
I know, and its cast is increasingly impressing. You know, so far, Karen Gillan, Angela Bassett, Paul Giamatti, Michelle Yeoh, Lena Headey, and I'm sorry, but this is how you get me to watch anything, right? Literally anything. You could make me watch, I don't know.
I feel like I know who this is.
You could make me watch a Miles Teller biopic if you cast Carla Gugino as his mum.
I knew it was going to be Carla Gugino.
It just is. Carla Gugino might genuinely be my favourite actress.
Out of all the actresses,
I will watch anything if Carla Gugino's in it because A, she can act, B, I have fancied her since 1990, and C, she's just great. She's got such a sense of what's cool and edgy and things like that. And the things she stars in.
Yeah.
Like, she was starring in comic book movies before they were any good.
Like, she just seems like a more approachable Gina Davis.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She, for me, basically is what would happen if Angelina Jolie hadn't won an Oscar.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. Basically, if Angelina Jolie hadn't won an Oscar, she would be Carla Gugino. That would basically be it.
So if that girl was not interrupted?
Yes. If you had not interrupted the girl...
she would have gone on to become Carla Gugino.
If you'd not interrupted the girl, she'd have been Carla Gugino. Carla Gugino is a woman so awesome.
Yeah.
She's even been in Entourage. I mean, come on.
I mean, you have very different tastes.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Hey, come on. Holly Valance was in Entourage. I mean,
Holly Valance
was in Entourage.
What was that song she did? Kiss Kiss?
Oh, I was thinking more of the movie DOA, Dead or Alive.
Oh, of course you were.
Which is just one of the greatest movies ever made. I don't care what to say.
Citizen Kane, right next to
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm all about that.
The Kane from Citizen Kane?
Like, fuck the third man. Like, I'm all about DOA, Dead or Alive. I mean, you can throw Casablanca at me all you like. It ain't got Eric Roberts as a villain, is it? Until you've got Holly Valance having a naked towel fight.
Yeah. What is she even doing now? What is
Holly
she doing?
Valance.
Holly Valance.
She married a billionaire and lives in Monaco, I believe.
I mean, if you can do that, do that.
Well, yeah.
I'd do that, definitely. You'd never hear from me again.
I think what it was. I asked Calvin some film-related question the other day. And, of course, you know, our age gap being what it is, he loves to exploit this. And he came back to with, it's blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah, and explained something apparently really basic to me. He says, how do you know the complete filmography of Roxanne McKee, but you don't know that? Which I then realised is factually accurate. Depressing, but true. IFC. I get into the streaming game.
Cool. Not another one, eh?
Because
everyone is. It's just... we're going to get to a point where we're giving like £5 to every single network, and we're just going to be spending like £200 a month.
Can we not just have like a streaming package that we pay to access all the streaming packages?
Like a Netflix?
Yeah,
kind
of like that. But I know
it's getting a bit like the Disney one. Yes, obviously you got my money because
Disney.
They own most things now.
Oh yeah, exactly. But no. So, yep, Game of Thrones ended. We should probably talk about that really quickly. It's kind of a big deal in the world. I know this is a film show, but
are we spoiling it? Everyone, if you're bothered about it, you've seen it.
Everyone's seen it. Everyone's seen it.
Were we all right with it? I was all right.
I was fine with it. It's perfectly okay. Bit rushed.
Didn't like the whole season as a whole ending. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it was a good ending to the season, as I said to you earlier.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. The Mountain got a more dignified death than Cersei fucking Lannister, but...
Yeah, the thing I was most annoyed about was Jaime's death.
Yeah, Jaime and Cersei, that was...
Just Jaime going back to Cersei was
weak
not
sauce.
for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really weak sauce.
I always wanted him to kill her, but that's just personal preference.
Yeah, I wanted that to happen.
But I'm taking enjoyment in just the small things that I liked about it.
Like the water bottle and the coffee cup.
Yes. I would watch about Sharon.
Oh, I just loved it.
That's the spin-off I want.
I just loved it when Tobias Menzies got up in the last episode. Like, I like to think that my experience was like, sit the fuck down, man.
Down, guy from Outlander.
Yeah, and you suddenly, because you were thinking it. You were thinking.
I was thinking, I forgot he was even a part of it.
You were thinking, bitch, sit down. And then it was Sansa comes out with, bitch, sit down.
And then I love that they were like, we're not going to have this by a vote. And then, like, 5 minutes later, let's do this by a vote.
Oh, right. Okay. Do you know what? I was going to tell you this because obviously we're podcast extras, so we can do a little spoilery stuff here. They've added a musical number to Aladdin, right, for the new
What, there's a new song?
There's a new song.
Yeah, I think it's written by Alan Menken as well.
Right. It's called Speechless.
Oh.
And it is effectively this movie.
Is it for Jasmine?
It's for Jasmine.
Right.
It is basically Let It Go. Right. It is an empowering, I will not be silent, I will stand up and assert myself as a woman song that she performs and then reprises, and then after the reprisal is immediately silenced. Right? They do that before they get to the whole, now I am enslaving you, you must marry me bits.
Yeah.
To which you're thinking, oh, so she's going to be silent and speechless. Kind of feel like we learned nothing from that song. Huh. And that, in a nutshell, is a problem with Aladdin.
It says a thing and then doesn't do the thing.
Yeah. Although a friend of mine pointed out that, you know when they do the whole one jump sequence when he's jumping from roof to roof and through windows and shit? A friend of mine pointed out that, that they'd swapped out a room that he drops into in the animated one that's a school for a new one which is a brothel.
Oh.
You're like, what a weird transition.
Nice. Was that Guy Ritchie's stipulation to do
Guy Ritchie's stipulation in this one is to swap out the school for a brothel. The thing is, have you ever heard this story about Guy Ritchie?
Well, I don't know what it is, so how can I comment on that?
The story is that Guy Ritchie, as a director, doesn't actually sit on the set and direct. Doesn't.
Well, if you're making Washed Away, would you?
Swept away.
Swept away.
Swept away.
Do I even care enough to remember what bloody
song
shit
it was? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not even doing the dignity of reading the title.
Yeah.
But apparently he has a converted Winnebago.
All right.
Which has been retrofitted as a log cabin inside.
Okay.
This is his editing bay and his fortress of solitude. And what he does is he apparently drives up to set, plugs this in, and directs the movie from the Winnebago. He has the sets specifically designed for this so that he can do this. Now, whether that's true or not, I couldn't tell you. However, if you go back, and I did this just as an experiment, if you go back through some interviews with Guy Ritchie, every now and again, he does name drop a Winnebago. He does casually mention that he has a special Winnebago. It comes up. Now, I never really particularly put much stock in that theory. However, having now seen Aladdin, I actually now absolutely believe the story is true. Yes, Guy Ritchie drives his Winnebago up to set, plugs it in, opens a window, and doesn't leave that Winnebago unless his life depends on it.
I kind of like the idea. I feel like I would probably do that. Because if I'm comfortable in an environment, I'm not going to leave it.
That shit you get away with if you're Jean-Luc Godard. Right?
Because we're like, you crazy.
You get away with that if you are Jean-Luc Godard. Right? You do not get away with that if you're the dude who made fucking Revolver. Okay? Right?
No, but man had a life before Revolver. He actually had good films, and then Revolver happened.
His last good
This is
film,
what happens when you put Jason Statham in a wig. Nobody wants that.
That is true. That is true. Who was it? Was that Ray Liotta and Jason Statham Revolver?
Yeah.
Good luck. I don't think I ever even finished it.
And then Rock and Roll is alright.
Is that the Gerard Butler one?
Yeah.
Didn't I get name dropped in Geostorm?
Yes, it might have done.
It did. One of the satellites, his name's...
Rock and Roll, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen the trailer for Angel Has Fallen?
Oh my God, have I? Only 3 goddamn times. I love that trailer.
Same. Oh, it's incredible. Are those bats? No, they're not. They're little drones.
Yeah, mini drones. Of course they are. Come with me, President Morgan Freeman.
Where is that? So, as Alan Eckhart, he's just...
It's going for the
He's
amount
just
of
gone,
time.
yeah.
Obviously, he's just phased out through re-election, no third term kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, Morgan Freeman was the Secretary of Defence in the first one? Or
Was he Secretary? Yeah.
Chief of Staff?
I think he was Secretary of State.
He was Vice President in the second movie. I remember that. He had been promoted to Vice President.
So now he's just won election, now he's...
And obviously he's run for re-election before then. But, yeah. So, mini drones. Gerard Butler. Has Piper Perabo always been his wife?
Yeah.
Because I don't remember that at all. No, I honestly don't remember that.
My question is, if Morgan Freeman is the president in this, is this entire trilogy just been a prequel
to Deep Impact? Of course it has. We all knew this.
We all knew it was coming.
We all knew this is where it was going. It's only so that we can have that sidequel to Deep Impact, where we purely follow Gerard Butler's character. That's clearly what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Right, I've just pulled up the cast list for Olympus Has Fallen, okay? I'm curious because I'm sure
I'm sure Piper was...
I knew it.
What?
It was Radha Mitchell. In 1 and 2, it's Radha Mitchell.
Recast.
In number 3, she's been recast as Piper Perabo.
Huh.
Ha-ha!
So you would imagine it's going to have a much bigger part in this.
I don't know.
This film just feels like Joe Butler doing the fugitive, and I don't know why that's not been done before.
Yeah, it's kind of strange.
Has that been done before?
I also just like the idea that they cast Nick Nolte as Big Daddy Butler.
As is, wait for it, Dad.
Nice to see you too, Dad. It's a terrible trailer.
It's the worst trailer I've ever seen, but I can't wait.
I can't wait. I mean, let's be honest though, there's a high bar you've got to get past with this one, because once you've gone and dropped fuck Hedistan in a line of dialogue...
Go back to fuck Hedistan.
Or wherever it is you came from.
Yeah.
That's the line. Good Lord. That made it through rewrites, through table readings.
Well, I think that was part of a rewrite. They were like, we've not got a line offensive enough. Somebody quick.
Look, all I care about is Angel Has Fallen going to have head stabbing? Okay, that's its only requirement.
Well, it's got to.
Needs head stabbing.
Yeah.
Look, we've established this.
I would imagine that he catches one of those mini bat drones in midair
Stabs it in the head.
And then just stabs someone in the head with it.
That would work.
Yeah.
But, I'm looking forward to Angel Has Fallen. It's only a couple of months away, isn't it? So,
it's really soon. Anyway, shall we end?
We shall end. In which case, here it is. Your moment of Cage.
This is murder! Murder! You'll all be guilty! And you're doing it for nothing! Killing me won't bring back your goddamn honey!